Welcome to Blind Level Tech. I'm Jonathan Price.
I'm Evan Starnes.
And together, we're bringing you news, tech, and information about blind technologies.
Being blind doesn't mean you have to stop living.
We're going to show you just how possible it is to live the life you want. Sounds good. Did you get to watch the Nuggets game last night?
I did watch the Nuggets game last night, and they won, and it was historical, and I was happy, and I celebrated, and yeah.
Yeah, my dad and I watched the game along with my kids, and it was a lot of fun because I've been a Nuggets fan for a long time. Not a diehard Nuggets fan, but I stopped following them when they sucked, and so I was very happy, and I've watched every playoff game. I've followed them most recently over the last several years, and it's been awesome. You know, I was around when the Broncos won their first Super Bowl, and the Avalanche last year. I've seen both or all three Avalanche Stanley Cup wins, and now the Nuggets have won. So now we're just waiting on the Rockies. So I think hell's going to have to freeze over first before the Rockies win something. But yeah, who knows?
We can agree on that, though. I wish the Rockies could do better. I love the Rockies. I used to be a big Rockies fan, but
really,
they're just not doing well.
What's your favorite sport?
My favorite sport is definitely basketball. I like basketball just because I've played it before, and you can there's a lot more auditory elements to it that are. Oddly enough, I like watching golf with my grandpa because it's so quiet that you can hear exactly what's going on the field.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. It is nice. And you get the little golf claps.
That's the cool part.
Which I do enjoy that. The hard thing for me about basketball is all the squeaky shoes, but you just have to kind of tune that out. And I'm sure that's a little bit more difficult for you or somebody who is blind who's so auditory that all they hear, I would assume that all you could hear would be that screeching, just shoe on the floor thing, and that drives my mom nuts.
It's funny you mentioned that, though, because I kind of associate the squeaking of shoes with the basketball sport. So with
basketball, right.
Like if I don't hear squeaking of shoes, it sounds more like I'm watching like football or something like that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. For me, it's the crunching of bones means it's football.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Yeah, I enjoy that. That's my favorite sport.
And all that, yeah.
The snapping of femurs, that's right. Well, so last night it was broadcast on YouTube TV, and there were they were doing some audio descriptions, or not YouTube TV. I mean, it was produced by YouTube TV, but there was, I forget what software was doing it, but they had some audio descriptions going on. And while you can do the play-by-play things, there are people who will describe the jerseys and the mascot and kind of what's going on. So that was kind of cool. But this week, welcome to Blind Level Tech. This is Evan. I'm Jonathan, a producer here at Audio Information Network of Colorado. Soon to be, I don't know what our name is going to be.
I don't either.
We're going through a name change.
We'll figure it out.
So we're trying to figure it out. Yeah, it's been an interesting journey. So we're kind of on the we've got a couple of names that we're trying to figure out. And so we're on the cusp of getting the naming and getting our rebrand done. So hopefully by the fall, we'll be ready to roll that out. And strangely enough, it does take a process. But what I wanted to dive into today is a couple of weeks ago, we talked about Apple TV, Amazon Fire Stick, and we talked about some of those accessible streaming devices. Yeah. And this week, we're going to talk about
accessible TVs.
And when we talk about accessible TVs, you can plug in your Apple TV or Amazon Fire Stick or things like that. But companies like Samsung, LG, Sony, yeah, those are the two that pop off in my mind in terms of leading the way for accessibility. A lot of TVs now come with, I think it's I want to say it's Samsung, but I think they come with the Alexa skill built into some of their TVs with the voice
remote.
Oh shoot, what's it called? Voice remote.
Yeah, a lot of TVs do come with voice remotes. The main ones being that I've personally played with are Samsung and LG, although Sony does offer a voice remote. The cool part about Samsung TVs, and I think LG does this too, is it actually allows you to pick what voice assistant you want to use.
Yeah.
And the cool part is my girlfriend got a Samsung TV, and you can actually choose between if you want it to use Amazon's voice assistant. I'm not going to say your name, or you can use the Google Assistant, or I think you can use Bixby, which is Samsung's own voice assistant. I've never played with it. If you guys have a Samsung TV with the voice remote, try it out and tell us what you think. I think Bixby sucks personally, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, they some of them have their own dedicated accessibility features. One of the it has the voice guide. I'm talking about Samsung specifically. They do have like the voice guide. Which
they have a whole accessibility suite actually. So the cool part is what's really important to think about when getting a TV, or depending on the TV you have, is what does this TV run? What is its operating system? What makes this TV tick? So Samsung TVs run an operating system called Tizen, and Tizen is an operating system developed by Samsung. It used to run on their old smartwatches, but now it really only runs on their TVs. And if you're in Korea, I think if you're in South Korea, you can get some Tizen enabled cell phones too. But the Tizen, is its own. It has its own app suite that includes all of the major streaming apps, including Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Disney Plus, Prime Video, Apple TV, all of the good ones. They have a accessibility suite built in that includes a screen reader. There's a video descriptions option, but it's for some reason on my TV it's disabled. I don't know why, and it won't let me turn it on.
Is yours older than 2022?
Ours is from 2019, I think, or 2018. Ours is
okay. Yeah, so they made it in 2022 specific for that.
Because we have
or
the
like
option.
Beginning of that.
It's the weird part.
Yeah, hopefully. I wonder if it's a software update or a bug. Maybe we can look into that, get it fixed. But something that I really enjoyed about Samsung was, and I know this is a blind tech, but Samsung with the accessibility suite also offers a sign language avatar that will translate what's on your screen to sign language, and it'll communicate, and you can do your menu options by signing, and it'll read your camera and all that kind of stuff. It's really that cool. Was super cool to me. Yeah. So like you were talking about, making sure you have the right software, right TV, the right platform. What are some things that people need to be looking for in terms of, okay, let's be honest for a second. We're going to do this on this show. How many blind people, a lot of people would assume you're blind. Why would you need to watch TV? Well, just look at Game of Thrones. For the blind community, that was one of the first real shows that did
audio description.
Oh, help me out. Thank you. Audio descriptions.
In fact, we Valerie used to do Game of Thrones marathons because of that.
Right. Yeah. And so, when we talk about the TV, there are some people who actually have some level of usable vision, and it may not be a lot. You may have RP where you have 4 degrees of vision, but you may have RP where you've got 15, or you may be able to, see out of one eye versus the other. So let's talk about things that would be beneficial when looking at a TV. Evan, what do you think are some of the beneficial things when you're talking about accessibility from a physical TV standpoint?
Really, from a physical TV standpoint, it actually has to mostly do with the remote. Because a lot of TVs have, a lot of manufacturers try to put their own little spin on TV remotes. Right. So, Samsung TVs, for example, have two different variations of remotes. The older style, the more common that you used to get with their older TVs, the non-voice enabled remotes were kind of like the average size of a TV remote. Not like super big, but they had your your power, your input or your source button, volume and channel up and down, mute and guide, and the number pad and all sorts of buttons. The cool part though is that they did have Braille next to the power, volume, and channel up and down buttons, so you could differentiate them, which was really cool. The newer voice remotes for the Samsung TVs are little. They're like, if you've seen an Apple TV remote or something like that, they're tiny little remotes, and they're solar panel powered, and they're rechargeable via USB-C, and they are very, very simplistic. They have you have your power button, you have a voice button, you have volume and channel up and down like little toggles, and they're very distinctive and they stand out from the rest of the remote. And if you push, you can also press them down in the case of the volume button, you can press it to mute and unmute the TV, or press and hold it to go into your accessibility shortcuts menu. And the channel button, if you press it, it's your guide button. So they've really kind of smooshed a lot of the bigger, of the buttons into a little remote. And then if you want the number pad, it's kind of a virtual thing now, which I'm not a big fan of. But I mean, really, a lot of people, a lot of people nowadays just use the voice remote anyway. But if you go over to the LG side of things, our TV, we got an LG smart TV. I forget what model it is. In 2019, it's one of their 4K TVs, and it came with the LG Magic Remote. And if you are if you are not using the screen reader, that remote comes with a mouse functionality, so you can kind of point at things and click on click the mouse wheel, which is it's like a little scroll wheel that looks like a computer mouse scroll wheel in the center of the arrow pad on the remote. Yeah. But unfortunately, that doesn't work when the audio guidance or their screen reader is turned on, which sucks because it's cool. But their remotes are a little different. They're kind of curvy, and they have a voice button that's really not in the best place. It's kind of a round button. Okay. But their remotes also do have Braille on the volume and channel buttons. And what I like about those remotes is the volume buttons are a plus and a minus, and they're tactile, and the channel buttons are tactile up and down arrows.
Nice.
And
so not quite Braille, but they are tactile.
Yeah, and they have the Braille letters next to them anyway.
Yep.
And the power button also has like a little power symbol that's tactile, so it's super easy to find.
Good.
Their remotes have, a lot more buttons. You have the number pad. Now, both Samsung and LG TV remotes have – gosh, I know we can talk about remotes for a while, can't we here? They have what a friend of mine called the billboard buttons. And those are buttons on both Samsung and LG TVs that are kind of at the very bottom. And they are shortcuts to major streaming services such as Netflix, Prime Video, and I think YouTube TV. Or I know on Samsung, one of their buttons, of course, brings you to Samsung TV Plus.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's another thing to consider about these TVs too, is that most TVs, particularly Samsung and LG, I know we're talking about those two brands a lot, they offer their own little streaming services. I don't know if LG's still exists, but Samsung still does have Samsung TV Plus that has hundreds of free channels over the internet. And I think they have some shows, and I'm sure there's some subscriptions you can pay money for too, but
LG still has its the OTT.
That's what it was.
System.
Yeah,
and they've got all the same things. But I mean, the smart TVs now, a lot of them come with that same thing. So I know we talked a few weeks ago with, do you really need one of those streaming boxes? And I will still argue for one, but some of the smart TVs are getting better about and for me, it's really about the interface.
Yeah,
when it comes to those types of things, and so. And anyway, keep going with LG.
Okay, and that's actually I'm glad you mentioned the interface, because I like LG's interface when the screen reader's turned on. What I don't care for too much is it doesn't have a lot of navigation sounds. So Samsung TVs, when you navigate around the screen, even with the screen reader off, it makes little tones. When you select something, it makes a different tone, and you can tell what you're doing more. LG TVs don't have that. They do, however, have an option you can turn on in the accessibility menu for power on and off sound. So you turn your TV on, you get a chime. You turn your TV off, you get another chime. Samsung TVs have that feature, but unfortunately the startup and shutdown sounds are only enabled when the voice guide screen reader is turned on, which sucks.
Yeah.
Because both our TVs, our Samsung and LG TVs, are family TVs. And so, me being the only blind guy in the house, I use the screen readers, but then I'll, turn it off so that a family member won't turn on the TV and they'll be like, Evan, fix this for me.
Yep.
Because that's happened.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why I like the Apple TV itself.
Yeah.
Because if you pay attention, if you are panning through the different apps and stuff, if you're all the way to the left, you will actually hear, if you have a stereo setup, you'll hear the sounds coming out of the left channel.
Yes.
And if you swipe all the way to the right, you'll hear that sound pan from left to right. Mm-hmm. And so you can kind of know where you are on the screen based on where the sound is coming from. So that's kind of a cool feature just on the Apple TV streaming box. But in any case.
Yeah. And, here on BLT, we do really vouch for Apple products quite a lot, but that is genuinely a cool feature because if you have a surround sound, you can kind of tell where you are in the interface. And the sounds that the Apple TV makes are very subtle, but they're very pleasant.
They are. Yes.
Now, that is the streaming box I'll always advocate for because it has AirPlay 2 built into it, and some TVs do come with AirPlay support from built in, but it has a lot built in. It has voiceover. And, its interface is very friendly. Really, I want to there are two big things I want to mention about Samsung and LG TVs, really. And that has to do with enabling the screen reader feature. Samsung TVs are great because if you want to turn the voice guidance on, you can press and hold the mute button. And you'll get this talking menu with the accessibility shortcuts. You can turn on video description, closed captioning, all of it. And you can easily turn on and off voice guidance. And then you close out of that menu and you get a screen reader or you don't. LG TVs, they have a good screen reader. When it's on, it's been pretty reliable. Yeah. I've tested it and I like it. But unfortunately, there's no shortcut to turn on or off a screen reader or go into some talking accessibility menu at all. And you have to do it based on memory or with sighted assistance or, something like that. You used to be able to, if your voice remote was set up, you used to be able to hold down the microphone button and say turn on audio guidance, but that hasn't worked for a while since an update.
Oh, weird.
So, honestly, while I like LG TVs as far as their quality, it's just they're harder to get set up. Samsung TVs, on the other hand, you turn the TV on for the first time, you get this beautiful bright screen and this intro music, and you'll get this little talking thing that'll say, welcome to Samsung TV. If you want to use a screen reader, you press and hold the mute button or something like that, and it'll actually it'll guide you through the setup. And they're what I call and what a lot of people call accessible out of the box. So, I as a blind person, I've done this. I went to Walmart once and I bought a Samsung 4 Series TV, one of their cheap $130 30-something inch TVs to put in my apartment when I had one. And I was able to get the entire thing set up, connected to the Wi-Fi, get all my favorite streaming services, all the channels I wanted, all, independently, no sighted assistance required. And, it was super, super nice. And that's another thing. They're smart TVs. Now you can buy a smart TV for $100 at Walmart.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You don't have to go out and spend thousands upon thousands of dollars. I mean, I would love to have a $5,000 QLED 85-inch Samsung
Oh, one
TV,
of the ones that looks like a tapestry?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That would just be bonkers.
Yeah.
Sidebar. Samsung is coming out. Have you seen those like pod modules? They're like 1 foot by 1 foot, and you can buy different modules and build the screen that you want.
Are you serious?
And just move them around on a magnetic wall. So you can buy like 4 of them and just have a 1 foot by 4 foot screen, or you can buy 100 of them and have a 100-foot screen. Like, it's just absolutely crazy. And they just click together. There's no setup. It's all on this like magnetic wall. Anyway,
that's crazy.
I digress. That's super cool tech. Anyway,
another little sidebar though. I just want to say some of the OLED TVs that we were talking about that are like $5,000 at the moment, that are super thin. They're so thin that they can't put speakers in them. So what they are doing is actually using the screen as a speaker, which is super cool.
Yep, that's super cool. Well, and some manufacturers are actually giving you sound bars with their TVs now.
Yes, Samsung
especially
does.
For like some of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got a
free
sound bar with ours.
Oh, cool. Very cool. We need to do a show on sound bars.
Yeah, we
and,
really
and
do.
audio stuff. So maybe we'll do that next week or the week after. But I want to shift gears real quick because you just did. We have a tech tip.
Yes.
So without further ado, here's our tech tip. Before we get into it, Evan, can you explain what this tech tip is?
Yeah. So this tech tip is a demonstration on what it sounds like to turn and what you should expect to when it comes to turning on and off the voice guide screen reader on Samsung TVs. Now, I kind of just dropped that in this morning. I went downstairs, fired up our Samsung TV, and yeah, it's just a quick little demonstration, and it even shows what the startup and shutdown sounds sound like and just what you should generally expect. So without further ado, here's your long-awaited tech tip. All right, so here's a tech tip for you guys. It's been a while since we've done one of these. In this tech tip, we're going to show you how to turn on the voice guide screen reader on Samsung smart TVs. In this example, we're using a Samsung Series 7, and honestly, this will work on pretty much any modern Samsung smart TV from anywhere from like 2015 to the present. So first of all, what you want to do is you want to go to the accessibility menu, or the accessibility shortcuts menu as it's actually called. And to do that, you want to find your mute button and you want to hold it down for about 3 seconds until you hear the TV say accessibility shortcuts. There we go. So it didn't say the accessibility shortcuts thing, but when you open that little menu, the first option you're going to be on is voice guide. If you want to turn it on, you hit the OK button.
Voice guide on.
And now you have a screen reader, so you can hit the right arrow to go to the close button.
Samsung account signed in. Close button.
And now, as you can hear, it'll read you like any notifications that come up on your TV. If you open the menu,
Smart Hub, 7 items, Netflix.
It'll read that to you.
Hulu.
One interesting thing about the screen reader itself is when it's turned on and you turn on and off your TV, it will actually make startup and shutdown sounds. So if I turn the TV off, and it's kind of similar to older Samsung TVs that used to do that just by default. So if I go and turn this back on, it might not do it because we have a sound bar. I guess it did. And there you go. But yeah, that is how you turn on and off the screen reader on Samsung TVs. And yeah, if you want to turn the screen reader feature off, hold the mute button down.
Video description off, disable.
And then we're going to hit voice guide.
Voice guide off. Close button.
And the menu still talks by default, which I really like. Even with voice guide off, it will read everything. And there you have it.
Man, Evan, that was so cool. That was really, really neat. I appreciate that.
I like the sounds a lot.
Yeah, me too.
And you guys actually, the cool part is if you hear those little dink sounds, you actually got to hear a lot of the navigation sounds.
Yeah.
Including the one when you open the menu. And I love that. That is the thing about Samsung TVs that I've always loved is they have this little menu called the Smart Hub, and it has all of your apps in it. And when you open it, you get this really cool little sound, and when you close it, it makes a different sound, so you can tell. Mm-hmm. And that's, I don't know, it's just so well thought out.
The attention to detail that Samsung puts in is not unlike Apple. I mean, they used to be cohorts together, and so that's why there's a lot of similarities between Samsung and Apple, especially with quality and screens. And I mean, Apple was using Samsung screens for years and years and years before their fallout. But in any case, the chimes and the different sounds and the clicks and things, they sound so much like, I know they're different than Apple, but they have that same pleasing quality. Like you can listen to them and they're not annoying.
It's the subtlety of them. They're very subtle, but it really feels like, the sounds, as I've always said, it kind of makes the device come alive. It gives the device character. And that's always why I've been a huge advocate for sound design and adding sounds where they're needed, whether it's on your computer, your TV, your phone.
Yep.
But I hope you guys have enjoyed that little tech tip. I know it's been a while since we've done those. I also do want to throw in, we did get some feedback that about tech demos. And that was something I didn't know I'd originally brought up in the what to expect from Blind Level Tech episode is tech demos. And we're going to try. I love doing tech demos. It's kind of one of my favorite things, and I can do it all day if you let me.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to kind of have that element and that aspect in future episodes, including really good direct recordings of certain devices.
Yeah.
So like, what is it, when you get your new, let's just have MacBook, for example. When you get your new MacBook, what does it sound like when you first hit that power button, and what do you
chime,
what do you need to do? And we're going to have some more like, not ASMR, but
pretty
really
close.
Good quality recordings. Yeah, pretty close. Minus the creepy whispering. I'm not a fan of that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. But if you are a tech giant or a tech person who has some tech that you would like to send us that we could demo on our show and give an honest review about it, we'd love to partner with you guys. And so hopefully there are some of you out there who are listening to this, Samsung, LG. We'll take an 85-inch TV and demo it for you for the rest of our lives. So
I'll take that new Mac Studio that's coming out. I could use that thing.
Absolutely. Oh, okay. So we have to. Oh my gosh, there's too many shows. Dang it, Evan.
I think I opened the can of worms.
Yeah. So we need to go over the WWDC convention or the announcement that they had with all of their tech, because there was some crazy accessible stuff that came out of that event. And so we'll hit that in a couple weeks. And
we will.
iOS 17 for iPad and iPhone are coming out, so we'll hit those in the upcoming episodes, along with new updates to Android. And I think Google actually has some updates as well. So anything from you, Evan, as we wrap up? Did you do anything exciting? Did you get any new tech? Because I sure did, but I'll tell you that in just a second. Tell me about your weekend.
Well, honestly, last week I was out on a bit of a surprise vacation, so hope you guys enjoyed the episode featuring Alex, my boss, and our amazing senior programming manager. She got to, you got to hear a little bit of an inside perspective of the Audio Information Network, as we are known right now. So hope you guys enjoyed that. And last week I was in Iowa. And it was interesting. It's funny that's where I was there about this time last year. It's really weird how stuff works out.
So not Ohio like we were previously thinking.
No. No. I was actually hanging out with a friend of my mom's, and we ended up going to the Omaha Zoo, and it was really cool. They had it's a huge, massive zoo, and we took an entire day and only explored like a quarter of it. But they had like a petting zoo, so it was me, my mom, my little sister, and our friend and her friend. And we got to go to the petting zoo, and I got to pet goats, which was really fun. And one of them kept trying to eat my shirt. But yeah, it was kind of a little 3-day trip. We went out and listened to a really good audiobook, and then hung out the next day, and then the next day we went back to Colorado. So
very nice.
I needed that little vacation.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I haven't gotten any new tech yet, but I do want to get some new stuff. For instance, for those longtime followers of BLT, I originally a while back had talked about a robot vacuum my girlfriend has.
Oh yeah.
we want to replace it because it's actually a pain in the neck to use, and we're going to replace it with a really nice one made by a company called Roborock. It's like $1,500.
Whoa!
But it mops your floor, it vacuums, it even dries itself and keeps itself clean and empty. Like it's a completely autonomous vacuum, and I'm like, I gotta play with this. And if I get it, you guys can for sure expect a demo.
Oh, absolutely.
And we will make a whole episode on that bad boy.
For sure.
Man,
for sure.
Cool.
Well, I got some awesome tech this weekend. So first of all, I got my old AirPods were crapping out, and they were outside of the Apple Care warranty.
AirPods
and so
2, I think.
I got the AirPods Pro 2. So I'm rocking those. I love those. They're great right now. Mm-hmm. But then, so I don't know if any of you know this or not, but I have a 2009 Mac Pro, and this is the old cheese grater style Mac Pro that I have somehow been able to keep running for the last 15 years.
Only because it's
Mac. I put 128 gigabytes of RAM in it, and then I upgraded the processors to dual Xeon X5690s, which are now, instead of running 4 cores, I'm running 12 cores, and I upgraded my video graphics card to a Radeon RX 580. So I am screaming right now, and so I'm on par with like the baseline current Mac Pro, and my computer's 15 years old. So instead of spending $15,000 on a computer, I spent about $700 to upgrade my current one, and so I'm pretty excited. Good Geekbench scores, so yeah, it was a fun weekend performing brain surgery, but it was a lot of fun.
Dude, get me in front of a computer and let me take it apart. I'll be occupied for weeks.
Except I will say that the first processor I put in upside down, touching the heatsink. And so I was like, well, shoot, I hope I just didn't blow $190 on a processor that I just put it upside down. And fortunately, it was fine. So I just flipped it over. So anyway.
Man, all right. I wish Macs were that upgradable nowadays.
Oh, dude. I know. That's a whole other conversation for a whole nother day.
Yep.
Anyway, my friend. All right. Anything for you as we wrap up?
No, not at the moment, except, when the Vision Pro, their Apple's fancy, really expensive headset, which we'll talk about in a future episode, and on our WWDC episode, of course, when that comes out, I'm going to get it.
Nice.
It'll be
very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, this is Jonathan Price for Evan Starnes, the AINC family. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to plug in your devices. Send us your tech tips, tricks, and questions, and we will answer them in the upcoming episodes. We'll talk to you guys later.